Going to come on. Oh. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for taking time out to come and hear a little bit about crowdfunding, the global phenomenon. Who am I? My name is Jeff Miller. I am a founder and CEO of GrowVest, which is a niche corporate finance house that's had 10 years experience in funding SMEs. And I'm also co-founder and CEO of GoGetta, which is a crowdfunding platform that has recently been launched, in fact, in the 1st of August, across the African continent to assist SMEs, which I'll tell you a little bit about as we go. So what is crowdfunding? So crowdfunding is when you take small amounts of capital from a large pool of investors to finance a specific opportunity. Now, really, it's, as someone mentioned earlier, it's pretty much traditional, like a stokvel system where you all contribute and where you can actually get a big pot of money at the end. There's various types of crowdfunding options. There's donations, there's debt, there's reward, and there's equity crowdfunding. The biggest of the lot is debt crowdfunding, and probably the smallest is equity crowdfunding, is where GoGetta plays. So how big is this market? Quite interesting. Currently in 2021, the market was estimated at about 17.5 billion rand, and 7 years time, by 2029, it's close to 43 million rand. That is, over the 7 years, it's 2.5 times growth, which is about 20% per annum growth rate. So really, it's going to be more than double in the next 7 years. So where's most of the business done? So most of the business is done in order is China, in North America, Europe, and that's pretty much where most of crowdfunding takes place today. So let's have a look and see if you can recognize any of these countries. Okay, you'll see that absolutely not one African country has been mentioned on that list. In the top 30 crowdfunding countries in the world, not one African country is there. In fact, I'll go as far as to tell you that crowdfunding is, let's have a look here, is Africa has only 0.1% of the world's crowdfunding monies that come through Africa, and 50% of that is done through platforms that are raised outside of Africa. So that's how tiny the African continent has been in terms of raising capital on the crowd for businesses in Africa. So why really crowdfunding Africa? Okay, so Africa is the forefront of the digital economy. She's bursting with innovation. She's world class. So really, what is the story? So Africa is in its infancy. Okay, there was so much potential. There's been lots and lots of adoption of the digital economy, and there's low penetration from traditional financial institutions. There's a cultural fit between crowdfunding and stokvel, traditional type of community investing. And quite interesting, by 2050, which is around the corner actually, Africa will have 50%, okay, of the world's population coming out of Africa. And also we all know that because of the slow start, and they missed out the internet revolution, that today Africa is growing very much in terms of the digital economy in leaps and bounds. So really, what are we trying to do? We're trying to redefine Africa's narrative. So here we got is, who is GoGetta? Okay, so GoGetta is a company that myself and two of my colleagues founded. Why? Because we felt that there was an absolute need to raise money or retail money into various investments on the continent. So it is an African-based equity crowdfunding platform. It's only for African businesses. So where African entrepreneurs actually want to raise money on the platform or need to raise money, they can list their businesses onto the platform and they can showcase their platform to potential investors across the world. So who are we? So we are a mirror of the inventive and resilient entrepreneurial spirit of Africa. Okay, we are creating a home for Africa's business mavericks. Okay, we are opening the gates for hungry investors looking to put their money into Africa. And we believe that entrepreneurship must be at the heart to transform Africa. We believe in the creativity and skill of the Africans on the continent. We believe that crowdfunding opens these doors. It also gives retail investors the opportunity to invest alongside professional investors, venture capital companies, private equity companies, high net worth individuals, family offices, to get into various private equity type investments on the same terms and conditions that these VCs are getting into the market with. Okay, so why? So we said who's GoGetta? Boom. Better do it this way. Can we have some volume there, please? So who's Grovest? As I said, I'm part of the Grovest group. Grovest is the large shareholder in the GoGetta platform. And Grovest has been around for 10 years, as I said, playing in the SME market. We have been assisting, especially we started our journey in Section 12J. We've got 10 of our own funds across different mandates, and we administer another 30-odd funds through FSCA in terms of the Section 12J mandate. So we have in excess of 3.5 billion rand under administration, and this is all right across the Section 12J board. And now the Section 12Js, as you know, is investments for retail investments. Albeit that it finished, the regime finished in June last year, we still continue to manage this money on behalf of all the retail investors. So we understand what a retail investor needs. So we understand the psyche. We understand what it means to be licensed with the FSCA. We understand about POPI and FICA and SIPSI and all the requirements in terms of prospectuses. We really know how to raise money through other than from traditional sources from the retail market. But what GoGetta really does is allows you to invest alongside the VCs and the high net worth individuals and family offices. So what you do is that Grovest is responsible for vetting a lot of all these deals. Every deal that gets put onto the platform goes through an investment committee with our IM, financial models, valuations, etc., etc. and Grovest sits on the investment committee, and it will only list investments that has passed muster through the investment committee and will be put onto the platform. So let's talk about the investor journey. So investor would go to GoGetta.Africa. They would see a whole number of investments listed onto the platform. These investments, as I said, would have passed muster through investment committee. They would have gone through the ring. And then you, as an investor, would have the ability to actually look up that investment, see the investment pack, look at the financial model, look at the valuation, see who the team is, and then you can decide whether, in fact, it's something that you want to invest in. If you want to invest, you would sign up. It's no obligation to sign up and do your FICA. Unfortunately, FICA is something that we got to live with today. You do your FICA, and then you have the ability to invest in any of the projects or investments that you would want from a minimum of 1,000 Rand. Obviously, there is no minimum, and the venture capital companies, high net worth individuals, family offices would invest in those businesses on the exact same terms and conditions that you invest in. In fact, we launched on the 1st of August. We've just in final closing of one of the investments. It's a macadamia farm where a venture capital company has joined the crowd to invest. I think it's open for another week or two, and then it will close. Okay, so what are the opportunities of crowdfunding? As I said, you can invest alongside sophisticated investors. You can diversify your portfolio, so you can put 10,000 Rand into 5 different investment companies, and then you have a diversified venture capital company which you've invested alongside professional investors, and you have who have done the due diligence, and you get obviously potentially high returns. But on the other side, that this is venture capital and it does carry a high level of risk. Liquidity is an issue. To invest in the private capital markets, you have to know this is a medium to long-term investment. It's not a short-term investment. And you also have to understand that Africa is in its infancy. But on the other hand, that gives us the beauty that there's high reward and that a lot of these businesses will return 10 times money. In fact, I can tell you, I don't know if you're aware, but there's in excess of 9 unicorns that have been developed across the continent, only one having come out of South Africa. So raising funds traditionally is a problem. And I'm sure this whole Innovation Summit is about people looking to raise money and how you can do it. But I think quite interesting is that the SMEs in Africa are being constrained by lack of capital. Okay, and I can tell you that there is. I just want to look here. That the International Finance Corporation estimates that in developing countries, that is a $5.2 trillion. This is dollars, nearly 8. It is 18 Rand to 1. Between the demand for capital and the supply for capital amongst formal, and I repeat, formal SMEs. Okay. And of that, 330 billion is the gap in sub-Sahara, only sub-Sahara Africa alone. So how do we close this gap? I think that's what it's all about. How do we close this gap? And we believe that GoGetta is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to list a business and offer it to the crowd. So yes, this is equity crowdfunding, but what are your options? Yes, you can go get debt, but not all money is created equal. What is the difference between getting debt and actually investors investing and subscribing for capital? So debt obviously carries a coupon, interest rate, and obviously depending on the risk can have very, very high interest rates. Most debt comes with some sort of security that and they would rank first before anything else happens, and it can be quite expensive. As opposed to equity, shareholders will invest alongside you, the founder or a founder, and take the exact same risk that you and the founder are taking. You don't have to have these heavy debt or interest commitments, and you don't have to give security. So, God forbid, if your business doesn't succeed, therefore your security is not on the line. So, let's talk about the entrepreneurial journey. I only came here this morning, but a lot of our GoGetta team, you'll see them running around in orange and having a stand over here if you want to talk to them, has told me that there's a lot of entrepreneurs at this particular conference. And we're all here to obviously try and raise money. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're in the audience, what do? So obviously you need a pitch deck, you need a business plan. Okay, you would send that into us. You can obviously send it in via the platform at GoGetta.Africa. Alternatively, you can just send it to hello@GoGetta.Africa and somebody will pick it up, and we'll, within a very, very short while, they'll come back to you. Either they'll tell you, no, it's not something that we don't believe that we can list on the platform. Alternatively, they will request a face-to-face meeting. From that, next step would be a workshop, whereby the GoGetta team, it's analysts, we have a 20-team professional team sitting behind the platform with a whole lot of analysts, lawyers, accountants, etc., who would then be able to assist you in a workshop how to maximize the value of your business. We'll then commence a due diligence of your business to see that what is there, or what you tell us is actually there, and testing of assumptions. Okay, we'll present that IM or create an IM and present that to the investment committee, assuming that gets us, that by that time, at this point in time, most of the businesses or all the businesses that have been presented to the investment committee are passed, because there's a hands-on daily interaction through the team, so they know what's going on. And then a prospectus is drafted, registered with CIPSI, and we list your campaign onto the platform, and we offer it to the crowd. And if assume you have all your ducks in a row, it's not a very, very long process, very, very easy process, and it gives you an opportunity to raise capital for your business. Just because your business gets listed onto the platform does not mean that you're guaranteed. So we have a minimum capital raise. So there is a minimum capital raise depending on the needs of each business. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And if that minimum capital raise is not met for whatever reason, that money is then returned to investors, or it's put into an investor wallet that they can then use towards another type of opportunity that they may like. If, however, that we do meet financial close, then the investors who have invested into GoGetta would subscribe for a share in the underlying company, so that on the cap table of the underlying company of the investment, there is only one shareholder, being GoGetta. GoGetta will represent all the shareholders of the crowd, attend AGMs, maybe sit on their board, excos, and assist them to grow the business to where it deserves to go. So, as I said, you apply for, to get your business listed on GoGetta. You can sign up online, or just send it to hello.getta.africa, and we'll get back to you. Quite interesting, we've had a lot of requests. So say people, I'm not an entrepreneur, I am a bit of an investor, but I know I've got a big network, and I would like to, what can I do? How can I work with you? So there's a great African saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So we have created a scout program, a GoGetta scout program, where if you are well connected across the continent, not only a South African business platform, this is right across the continent, and you're aware of a business that's requiring funds or that deserves a place on the GoGetta platform, you can apply to be a GoGetta scout. And on the successful capital raising of that particular business, we will pay you an introductory fee for your efforts. And then again, there is a whole GoGetta scout opportunity on our platform that you can apply to get registered. So we're on a mission. We're really here to crowdfund Africa forward. Africa is ready. Entrepreneurs are hungry. Investors are seeking opportunity, and GoGetta is hopefully where they meet. So we know that there's countless businesses with lots and lots of opportunity, but just needs an opportunity, just needs some opportunity to raise capital to get them going. And hopefully this is a new platform that can assist. So if you want more information, obviously we're on Facebook, we are on all the different Twitter and Instagram, and we have a stand in the hall, the main hall, where you're very welcome to meet any of our my colleagues and my partners and founders, and we're happy to take you through any, should you want to discuss anything further. I'm also happy to take any questions if you wish. I love questions, as long as they're not too hard. There we go.
Thank you very much. My name is Ina Soria. I'm from Finland. I recognized our country there when you listed the countries. I'm part of a biggest Nordic crowdfunding, reward crowdfunding platform called Mesenaatti. And it has been working for a few years. And it has a wide number of campaigns and businesses, startups, mostly social project. As you heard yesterday, we are very heavy on social entrepreneurship in Finland. And interesting detail of our crowdfunding through Mesenaatti is that the campaigns that get most funding are book publishing. It most likely come from the fact that we are also one of the biggest reading nation in the world. Per capita, we read most books. By the way, we also drink most coffee. I don't know if they go together, but normally they do. My interest is that, I'm very interested in GoGetta, and I think it's something exactly like you explained what Africa needs. So what types of campaigns and businesses are the most common who approach you? Like I said, in Finland, it's book publishing, but we also have movie makers, we have fashion, entrepreneurs. For example, we had an African fashion show, which got a lot of crowdfunding in Finland because people are interested in African fashion. So could you elaborate a little bit that what type of businesses or campaigns are most popular and that are attracting most funding via GoGetta? Thank you.
So very interesting. As I said, we've just launched on the 1st of August. So the business is still in its infancy. There are 4 platforms currently, or 4 opportunities currently on the platform, and they're all different. There's a macadamia farm, which is in agri. There's a communications company that is enabling disadvantaged communities to get cheap data through Wi-Fi. We have an art company or artist who is creating art utilizing Rubik's Cubes, which is quite interesting. He's actually interesting enough, he's got the South African champion for making the fastest Rubik's Cube, but he makes John Lennon and a whole lot of different art forms using Rubik's Cubes. And we have a trailer company, a manufacturing company. So each one of the 4 completely different. So maybe in a year's time, we can have this discussion at next year's innovation conference, and I can give you if there's a trend. But at this point in time, we look for businesses where we believe there's firstly, that we back the team, that we obviously see that team can execute. There must obviously be a commercial model, and it's of interest, and there's growth that the crowd can actually get a return. Next question over there.
Hi, my name's Paul. I'm from a company called Zindi. I'm afraid I think the only interesting questions or hard questions, so I hope you don't mind too much. I actually have two questions, and they come from both sides of the market, if you will. I'd be interested as somebody who might want to use your platform, as a company who might want to use your platform, what you can tell me about the community that you've built in terms of, number of people on the platform, how much money or capital you think might be accessible through the platform, what types of investors you're seeing, whether it's individuals, people like me who might want to just pick up my small amount of disposable income and put it in, or whether you're seeing more serious investors signing up to invest through GoGetta. And then my second question is from the other side. If I put on my hat as I have 1,000 Rand that I want to put into the company, what does the return on investment look like? How do you foresee, obviously you've just launched, but how do you foresee people who've signed up for the platform, how do you foresee them getting money out at the end of the day? Thanks.
Okay, great. So, I preface everything by saying to you that we've only been around since the 1st of August. So we're busy building the crowd. So at the moment, we've got a couple of thousand people who have signed up. And then we've got lesser people who have taken the sign-ups to go on to KYC. Okay, and then lesser people from the KYC who have invested. So our job is to hopefully build the platform and move the people through the funnel from the sign-ups to the KYC to the investment. So quite interesting enough, one of the investments that we've had, which I told you is a macadamia fund, which was raising 5 million Rand, has now got a financial close, because together with the crowd and a VC have now been able to close that. In terms of the investors, let's say on the bottom side, so we've seen an average of around 1,500 to 1,800 Rand per investor. But that said, so there's a minimum of 1,000 Rand, but we've seen some investors going up to 50,000 Rand, some 10,000 Rand. So it all depends on the appetite and the disposable income. In terms of the second question was, help me.
Returns.
Okay, so you're not investing in the platform. Okay, you're not an investment into the platform. You are investing into each individual opportunity, or one of the opportunities, and each one has its own return profile. So we would like to see an IRR in excess of 20% for this type of risk. And that, but there's sometimes the asset underpin, like in the macadamia farm, you have an asset underpin, you got the farm, you got the macadamia trees. Every year that the value of the land gets more and more. Okay, there's offtake agreements, there's even a put agreement that at the end, because I think that one of your questions was about the liquidity. So at the end of the period, you've got to put to either to the management, or the management can have a call, and there's an exit mechanism. So it's a really lovely investment there. The art form that does with the Rubik's Cube, funny enough, the Rubik's Cube, if you go into Takealot, you'll find that they're like $3.99 for proper Rubik's, and he makes it out of proper Rubik's. Rubik's approached him from overseas, and he, as an artist, and he buys them very, very cheaply. So if you had to look at the art piece, just say the art piece is 70,000 Rand, the Rubik's Cube is probably 100,000 Rand of that. So there's an underpin. So I think, and as opposed to a pure tech business, which is a lot of blue sky, there's not an asset underpin. So I think each one you got to look at individually. So it's and also you as an investor would be able to sift through the platform. Do you want to invest in tech? Do I want to invest in agri? Do I want to invest in healthcare? And then you'd be able to see what options are there. Obviously, they're not there as yet, because we're busy building the platform. And one of the reasons why we're here today is hopefully that everybody in this room will sign up to GoGetta.Africa, give us your KYC, absolutely no commitment, costs you nothing, but at least you'll be able to be part of the ecosystem and see what's going on. We'll be in contact with you, and if you like it, you can obviously, tickles your investment mandate, then you can make investment.
Break for lunch. Obviously, it's your lunch break. I don't want you to break in. Yeah, so we got the one there, and then you can take it offline with the team in the orange shirts if you want.
Hi, I'm Benjamin. I was just wondering, how does equity work? So how much do I give up if I come as a company? If it's overfunded, can you overfund, or can you only fund for like 5 million with the macadamia farm, or can it go to 10 million? And how does equity kind of work in that situation?
So Benjamin, what we do is we take your business and we value it. You've obviously got in some sort of expectations when you come to us, and we would put it through a proper valuation model through our analysts. If we feel that your valuation is too high, which you probably will, we would try to give you something temperate to say, if you want a successful raise, this is the type of valuation that you should do. We have a minimum capital raise, because just say you have to buy plant and machinery and you need 5 million rand, and you only raise 2.5 million rand, you can't buy half the machinery and still have a production line. So therefore, we there say, if you don't raise your 5 million, therefore that you haven't been successful. But we do say that you can raise a minimum of, say, 5 million and a maximum of 10, because maybe that's what the entrepreneur is happy to give away. In terms of valuation, it's no one size fits all. Every business has its own valuation and needs. So obviously, we recommend that you obviously don't give raises more money than you need, but because obviously you hope in what we see is that you go for second raise, third raise, Series A or pre-Series A, etc., etc. So this is more seed and growth capital.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeff. Firstly, yeah, a lot of respect for you and your team, what you've achieved at GrowVest, and I just got to take my hat off. Not many people in the room appreciate a venture capitalist, or because essentially you're an entrepreneur yourself. You've got to build pipeline of businesses. You've got to engage with funders as well. So congrats on the launch, and look forward to the team supporting you. Great.
Thank
so we round of applause, please. There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Great. We're going to break for lunch. Please be back here at 2:00, where we will, Von Ziddels will be talking about the think tank, Africa, and the metaverse. So coming from a legal perspective, that should be a very thrilling one. Thank you.